the fortune that we seek is in the follow-up. So very important to do follow-up. I know Dom has done training on it. Sharon's done training on it. Jordana's done training on it. Pretty much everybody has done some sort of training on follow-up. So what is follow-up? Well, it comprises two parts, right? So we have people in conversation and we keep people in conversation about ACN, right? So we're answering questions and we're overcoming objections. So those are the two parts about follow-up that's important. And here's a mantra that's popular in our industry. So some will, some won't. So what next? Now, I think it's a great mantra, but I also think it's very flawed. So I like to change the mantra to some will, some won't, some are waiting, so follow up. Now, this to me is an underutilized mantra, but to me, it's also better to use because we're all seeking success in what we're doing, right? So fortune is in the follow-up and fortune is in the success of the follow-up, right? So our goal when we're following up with people is to educate people through exposures and to understand what our prospects are needing through conversations, through asking questions. And that's the only way we're truly going to understand what it is that they need in order for us to be able to answer their questions or at least direct them to the right places to find out the information that they need, right? So we need to follow up with them. The average person needs anywhere between 4 to 6 exposures before they're ready to make a decision regarding any opportunity, even going to a movie. So that includes ACN, of course, too. But basically, it's important that we give people the chance to feel comfortable in the decisions that they're making. So it could be the first time that somebody sees ACN, or it could be their 10th all the way to the 14th time that they're exposed to ACN. How many times have you heard of people who have told you, oh, I think I heard about this before, but at that time it wasn't for them, right? So you just don't have a clue how many times each person needs to see it before they make their decision. So you need to follow up. And if you don't do it, somebody else will. We've all seen the stats. Only 10% of people follow up more than 3 times, yet 80% of decisions are made on the 5th to the 12th contact or follow up. So we all need to follow up and we need to do so consistently. When you're doing your follow-ups, you need to, flex that action muscle. It gets easier as you go, but the nervousness will never go away, and that's okay. So there's Mel Robbins. Sharon spoke about her beforehand, and it was the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go rule. So basically, you act now, you do it scared, and you do it anyways. So with the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 rule, basically all you do is you count in your head or out loud if you need to, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and then you take action. So whether that's to pick up the phone, run around the house, whatever it is that you need to do in order to follow up with somebody. So you just do it scared. And posture. How many of you think that posture is an important aspect for follow-up? This is Xavier when he was Black Panther a couple Halloweens ago. So he's a lot bigger than that now. But what do you notice about kids? They all have posture, whether they're in their superhuman outfits or if they are, trying to get some extra dessert. They have posture and everything that they're trying to get, right? So it's an important thing to have. So you want to be in a success type of posture for yourself, for your follow-ups. So I say superwoman because I'm a woman, but basically just boss up. So your posture helps to elicit confidence in yourself, which helps to elicit respect from the people that you're following up with. That's pretty important. So right now, even though I can't see any of you, I think it would be awesome if we all just kind of, since most of us are sitting down, we sit up straight and get into your posture. What makes you feel like if you're a boss, right? So actually, I can see some of you. So some of you who are on camera, I'm going to get you to do that right now. And so just sit up. Dom, you were not. But if you sit up straight, posture up, get your confidence going, and that's going to be the best way that you can follow up with people. They'll take you and your business more seriously. Anything that comes out of your mouth will be a lot more important to people. It's just like when you talk to somebody and they can hear when you're smiling, they can hear when you're sad. All of those things people can hear, even when you're just speaking to them over the phone. So make sure your posture is right. So there's a science to this, and it's from Amy Cuddy on YouTube. If you're interested in searching her up, just search it up on YouTube, Amy Cuddy, and you can find out more about your power poses. So this is just a little funny video that I like to play regarding follow-up.
Rega.
Yeah, what's up?
I just wanted to let you know that I sent you an email. It's pretty long and I don't want you to miss it.
Yep, I'm just gonna finish the sketch I'm working on and then I'll read it.
Rega?
Oh my god, Jesus! Okay, what? You scared me.
Sorry, I'm just following up about that email.
Uh-huh, I got it.
Okay, and you're aware that it's a very long email?
Yeah, you told me already.
Wonderful. Ralph? Hi, I'd like you to help me get Rega to check the email I sent her.
What? Why?
Yes, I just sent you an invitation to a reminder to check in with Rega. Did you get it?
Oh!
If you could accept that invite, I'd really appreciate it.
Katie, I don't need Raph to remind me to read your email.
Yeah, exactly. I'm not involved in this.
Okay, just accept the invite.
No, I'm not going to.
Do it. Just do it.
What? You texted me to check in with Raph, to check in with Rega, to see if she got your email.
Oh, great, you got it.
Katie, we all have a lot of work to do, okay?
So that's just an example. I'm going to say right now, do not do that with people when you're following up. We want to follow up when we want to follow up consistently, but we don't want to annoy people. We don't want people staying away from us because of the way we're choosing to follow up. So one of the things we want to remember is that people are in different stages when we are following up with them. So when they see ACN, everybody's in different stages. So we're going to explain these stages like the stages of a clock with time that just keeps ticking on. So at 3 o'clock, no one knows but them that they have a problem, right? There's something that they're unhappy with, whether it's a work issue, bills, etc. They're just plain unsatisfied with something that's going on with their life. They might be open to hearing about ACN, but they're more invested in fixing whatever they have going on and that they're unsatisfied with. They're not ready, nor are they invested in starting a new opportunity like ACN or a business like ACN. The next stage is 6 o'clock. At this stage, they're no longer the only ones that know that something's wrong. They know, their family knows, and possibly even a few of their close friends know. And it's at kind of a dire stage. They're in a difficult situation at this point, and they're typically in scramble mode. They're still focused on fixing their problem, but now they may be enlisted in, enlisting the help of a few of those who they know around them. And they're slightly more open to hearing about something like ACN and determining how ACN may be beneficial to them and how that might be able to solve their problem. At 9 o'clock, it becomes obvious to them and the people in their close circle that if something doesn't change right away, they're in serious problems. They're open and they're looking for a better way to get them out of whatever situation they're in, and they are looking. So these are people who are pretty much, you've heard of people who say that they're praying for a change. They're praying to be able to pay their mortgage. They're afraid of foreclosure. They just need help. And people are most open to an opportunity like ACN from the stages of 9 to 12. 12 o'clock, it's high noon. So this is the sign me up stage with people. Very important for all of us to be talking to as many people as possible because we don't know what stage anybody's in, right? So if you're talking to people and you're finding out, how they're doing and you're actually listening to them, you'll be able to know. So you want to be talking to as many people as possible because you're not waiting on anybody either, right? So your frustration levels, they'll decrease when you understand all these things about the stages as well, because you'll understand that it's nothing to do with you. It's just whatever stage that they're in. So I've got a couple follow-up tips for all of you. First one, do what you said you would do when you said you would do it. So I always tell people to put something in their smartphone. I say Android. For all of you iPhone users, Android is much better. So I would say do that. Put reminders in your calendar on your phone. just figure out a way that works for you. There was Jeff Street. He used to talk about the 100 squares. We've all kind of talked about that beforehand, but basically that's where you'd put people in 100 squares and you'd put their names and you'd figure out what time you needed to follow up with them, when you needed to follow up with them. And then that way it's a visual reminder for yourself. I like the phone just because that reminds me consistently as to when I need to follow up. And people respect others that do what they say they're going to do and when they value their time. So example, like for all of us right now, when we show up to a meeting, we know the meeting starts at 6, right? Or 6:30 or whatever time the meeting starts. If we show up when the meeting starts, which I'm also bad at doing, but if we show up at exactly 6, we're really late at that point. Because at that point, you're scrambling, you're trying to make sure you're on there, trying to make sure your camera's working or that you're muted and everything, right? So, you know, be on time, which means be a little bit early. So, and also keep in mind that the only reason to have an exposure is to set up the next exposure. So exposures are seeing ACN, calling somebody and talking to them about ACN, having them on Saturday training, having them on our Wednesday meetings, having them on Tuesday when we do the Canada-wide calls. Those are all different types of exposures, right? So if you end each exposure by setting up the next one, your guest will eventually be comfortable enough and educated enough on ACN to make an informed decision for themselves. Really, this helps to change your own goals, your own mindset from just getting someone on ACN the first time you see them to kind of enjoying the process and keeping the process alive by setting up the next exposure and then the next and the next and the next until your guest is comfortable to make their decision on their own. So of course, this takes the pressure off of both of you and your guest feels less pressured. And that's what you want, right? You want people who are joining you because they want to join you, not because they felt like if they were pressured to join you. Of course, if somebody wants to join, let them join. That's the first time. You don't stop anybody, of course. But our goal, again, is about education and understanding your guests. Like I said beforehand, it's 4 to 6 exposures for most people before they're able to make a decision. So don't be disappointed in people who take longer than that or, you know, who are right in there. It's okay. The first exposure is not the norm. Someone like myself, I joined when I first saw it, but it took like 4 to 6 times before somebody was actually able to get me to see it. So yeah, that's a good thing. So help people make a decision through multiple exposures and understanding. So this is definitely times we keep following up with people, right? And you'll find like some of the best people that you prospect will be people that you've been prospecting for years to join. And you want to condense the amount of exposures that you have in a better condensed time frame because that's going to give you better results. It's the best way to keep guests interested because if you space out your exposures like over a few months, typically life happens and they forget what they saw from the beginning, right? So you want to ask people kind of right away, when's the best time? Like let them know, give them 2 dates, for instance, like if somebody sees today's presentation, you find out from them if, you know, if they have some time tomorrow, because you can show them it again, or you can show them it on Saturday when there's Saturday training. So promote that training. That way, that's your next exposure. That's the next chance for someone to get some more information, see a little bit more about ACN, and be able to make a decision, right? And again, if they're not able to do it then, you put them on the Tuesday Canada-wide presentation, because that's another way for them to get that exposure, or you put it on your team's exposures. So imagine doing 6 exposures in 6 months or doing six exposures in 2 weeks. You're going to get a lot better response in 2 weeks than you will in 6 months' time. So this, again, it allows people to be excited and you won't feel like you're starting over every time. And that's the best way to not stay frustrated with it, right? And it allows your guests to dream, just like it allows you to dream. And it's just a good way to do things. And I'll just do this one little follow-up quote, which I love, which is that diligent follow-up and follow through will set you apart from the crowd and communicate excellence.